What does this mean?
Well, it's a historic day, obviously. This is only the third president in U.S. history to be impeached, even though President Trump, we saw him on TV just now saying it's all partisan, it's a game, it's a witch hunt. This occurred after an extensive investigation and committees, weeks of witnesses being brought. It really does show that they brought a case about the president basically abusing his power. They proved their case, at least to the House of Representatives. It was on a partisan basis, but they did prove their case. They impeached the President of the United States. This is significant. Now, of course, we turn to the Senate, where the Senate would need 2/3 of all the senators to vote. They act as the jury in this process, and that is highly, highly unlikely to happen, given that the Republicans have the majority there.
As early as now, and you just mentioned it as well, people talk about it's not going to go through. It's a 2/3 vote that's needed, 2/3, and it's controlled by the Republicans. Is that another way of saying the vote will not be impartial?
Well, that's a very good question. I mean, this has been at the heart of this whole debate, the president making the case that the House was was being biased in even bringing this case. But the fact is, they've brought the case, they have proven the case, at least to get a vote, and so now it does move to the Senate. The Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, who is running for re-election this year, has made it clear he's going to very much work with the White House. So it's a real question, and this is a question, what's going to happen now with all of this, with the House vote and whatever happens in the Senate, it's going to play out very soon in this coming election year. It's fascinating. This is happening right before the president's running for re-election. When Bill Clinton was impeached and was obviously not removed from office, but it was his second term. He was not running for president again. This is fascinating because Donald Trump is going to be facing the voters, and the voters are going to make a decision, not just in his case, but the entire House of Representatives, those who are choosing to run for re-election, run again, and 1/3 of the Senate is up. So this is going to play out in a lot of races. It's very interesting. The Republicans tried to really push some Democrats, those who are in swing states and in districts which Donald Trump won in 2016, they were pushing them to vote against impeachment, to vote with them against impeachment, and they didn't. For the most part. And so people are standing up for their party on this. This clearly, today's vote, one of the things I think we can take away from it is that the Republican Party is siding very much with Donald Trump. They are being the party of Donald Trump. There had been some thoughts about whether they might, individuals might decide that particularly on the abuse of power issue, that they were going to go along, but they have not chosen to do so. So clearly this comes down to the Republicans standing with Trump, the Democrats saying that they are concerned about the future of the country under this president, and this will likely then play out in the court of public opinion and will play out in the 2020 elections.
And if you look at the polls out there, public opinion has not exactly changed. It's pretty much split. In a way, does this only just galvanize Trump's supporter, the base, and could this actually end up backfiring for the Democrats?
Well, it could end up backfiring for some Democrats in some particular districts, that's for sure. And the more that President Trump and particularly the Republican Party makes this a case about they went after him, that could hurt some of these particularly voters, particularly lawmakers who are running in swing states and in tough districts. At the end of the day, though, there may well be Democratic voters and independent voters who decide that the Democrats had to do this and may make up their minds that they will vote Democratic because of the Democrats pushing ahead on impeachment. Nancy Pelosi, in her opening statements before this all began, and it was a long process, by the way, to get here. Almost every member was given time. Well, every member was given time to speak, and I think they almost all took it. So it took hours and hours and hours to get to the actual impeachment vote. But Nancy Pelosi at the beginning said that this was not about party. She was trying to put it above party, but she said, if we did not do this based on the evidence that we have seen, we would be derelict in their duties. And that will play out in the vote, in the court of public opinion and among voters as well when they decide, did the House do what it needed to do, even if he is he will not be removed from office and the Senate will not go along with this, which is, as we've said, very likely to happen.